Charlotte Motor Speedway. They're lean, they're mean, they're 5 to 7 horses, a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast2Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars.
We are live on the Coast2Coast Racing Network for a little Flatline Racing Bodies Hometown Heroes Wednesday night. First up, as always, the A&J Custom Creations USAC Midgets. Always put on a good show, but man, you know, we're going to hear this a lot tonight. I won't spoil the surprise. Maybe you can catch on here, get the opening hint. But coming into tonight, Blake Chapman, 2 wins out of 4 races. He's got 313 points. Joseph Grandy, P2, 241. The gentleman, Jack Hitt. He's only run 3 races, 1 less race than Blake. He's looking, right now, he's at 238. That's a little bit too hard for me to do the math on the fly. So if you're that smart, go ahead, throw it out there what the gap is. But you know, Jack Hitt still in contention. He was your series winner here in the midgets last season. The gentleman always good. He gets in these wingless, man, as they're having some fun. Let's watch that. 3-4 wide here rolling around. That's Terry Landis, Joseph Grandy, and Steve Maurer. Maurer, the man in the middle of that 888. The Jeter machine gives him a little bump. The 161. Terry Landis looks to the middle. Oh boy, they better save some of this here for the feature. Oh, lots of good close racing here in warm-ups. But that's the way you learn. That's the way you get a feel for the guys around you. Drivers taking full advantage of the time they have here in practice, which should be coming to an end here soon. Right on cue, checkered flag waves. Man, I couldn't have timed that any better. As we get ready to roll into qualifying here. Have to see who brings home quick time. It's been... I don't think I can look at the qualifying record on here. Looking at it. No, at least not quick, but Blake's been towards the top. Terry Landis, I believe, maybe snagged the pole. We'll have to see. Who's out on the racetrack first? B-Temp, Brandon Templeton here in the 31. Let's see what he's got to offer here as he takes the green flag. Through sector 1 and 2. Brandon Templeton, purple, you see there on the bottom of the screen. What's the time look like? Purple coming off a 4. That's going to be quick time for the moment. Brandon Templeton, 13:05. Mr. Wednesday night, able to bring home a win last night in the retreads at Eldora, currently P4. The gentleman Jack hit. He comes around with a real banger of a lap, but that didn't last long. Oh, yes, it did. He took it right back. Grandy took it, but the gentleman answered with an even quicker second lap. But look, purple on the bottom of the screen. What do we see for Blake Chapman? P3 right now, the salesman. Can he improve? Final time through 3 and 4, slower through 1 and 2, quicker through 3 and 4. Not going to be enough for the salesman. P3 is where he's going to qualify. Jack Hitt, Joseph Grandy, Blake Chapman, Brandon Templeton, and Anthony Morano, your top 5. I'll have to see how many heats. I would imagine a 7 and a 6 here. 2 heats. But who knows? As right now, just oh so quiet. Qualifying, I believe, has come to a close here. If we bring this back up, yes, it has. And there we go. Let's take a look at the starting grid for heat race number 1 for your A&J Custom Creations, USAC Midgets. Running out the field, starting P7 in the 7, Bob the Good. Outside of row number 3 in the 390, that's Mike Brewer. Into his inside, the General, in the 87, Andy Patton. Row number 2 to the outside, the 217 of the pole sitter, the gentleman Jack Hitt. And to his inside, or pole winner, excuse me. And to his inside, the salesman in the 20, Blake Chapman. Row number 1 for heat race number 1 on the outside, the 32 of the Magic Ant-Man, Anthony Morano. And to his inside, starting on the pole, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. As we get set, ready to roll here. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 6 laps to play in the clay at Hewsett Speedway. Heat race number 1 underway. Yeah, man, looking to make a push here on the outside early. He gets a good run down the backstretch, but pay attention to row number 2, the 217 and the 20. If there is any grip to be found, boy, those guys are going to find it. And the 161 and Anthony Morano going to have to turn it up here as we head down the backstretch. Still side by side, Terry Landis tries to make the bottom work, but give it to Anthony at the line, 4 to go. Andy Patton running around here, feeling a little bit of pressure from behind from the 390 of Mike Brewer, but right now, side by side out front, this is where the battle's at. The gentleman, your pole winner, fastest qualifier, making a move, moves on up to P2. Can he find a way to duck this thing low and possibly get in on the Ant-Man? Big send here going into 1. We follow him going down the backstretch. Jack Hitt still down low. Slide job for the lead, and here comes Blake Chapman. White flag in the air. Who's going to bring it home? Anthony thinks about a slider, can't complete it. The gentleman's up there. Anthony's got to send it in one more time. Blake's downstairs to capitalize. side by side at the line. Give it to the gentleman, Anthony Morano, P2. Blake Chapman, P3. Terry Landis, 4th. The General, 5th. Mike Brewer, 6th. And Bob DeGood, 7th. Boy, oh boy, man. Heat race number 1. The gentleman coming from 4th after the invert. Taking what was his, and he's going to start on the pole for tonight's feature as we take a look at the starting lineup for heat race number 2. Row number 3 on the outside in the 05, Devo, Donovan Ross, and to his inside in the 888, Steve Maurer. Row number 2 on the top shelf, that's $100,000, Joseph Grandy, and to his inside, the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. Row number 1 for your second and final heat race for the A&J Custom Creations USAC Midgets. On the outside, the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. And starting on the pole in the 513, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. Well, Brandon Templeton and Joseph Grandy, they wanting the challenge of starting from the back here. I've seen them do it before. Not going to grid up here for heat race number 1. Only 4 cars. Let's see who can bring it home as Brian Moore Sr. and Jeff Barker bring us to the line. The Brewerton Beast on the inside, the 055 of the yellow jacket, Mr. Wednesday Night, trying to pinch him down, able to do so, but man, oh man, Brewerton Beast might have to get those elbows out if he wants to complete the pass. He sucks back in line here. Can he find a way to get underneath the 055? Not just yet. Plenty of time to play. 4 laps to go. Steve Maurer all by himself there in P3, and Devo, well, Devo's just having fun here. Maybe doing a little booze cruise back there, relaxing, having some fun. All by himself in P4 as only 4 cars make the call. But Mr. Wednesday Night, he's there to answer the bell. 2 laps to go as it's looking like he's going to be able to bring this one home as the white flag flies. 1 more trip around. Brian Moore Sr. won last night at Eldora, and he's going to try to do it in back-to-back nights. He's going to win heat race number 2 and start on the outside of the front row for tonight's feature. Jeff Barker, Steve Maurer, Donovan Ross, Joseph Grandy, and Brandon Templeton round out the field. And with that, we're going to take a quick break here on the Coast2Coast Racing Network. Run a little advertisement, and we'll be right back for tonight's A&J Custom Creations USAC Midget Sprint feature. Stick around. Man, they must have all left the stoves on tonight. They're in a hurry. This thing is rolling. Less than 15 minutes in, we're about to get ready to go into tonight's feature. As you see there, the clock comes to a close, and the Gentleman Jack hit. And Brian Moore Sr. are going to be row number 1, but let's wait here. You know how I like to do things. Start at the back. Let's take a look here at tonight's starting lineup for your A&J Custom Creations USACs Midgets. Rounding out the field, starting P13 in the 7, Bob DeGood. Row number 6 on the outside, the 518 of 100 grand, Joseph Grandy, into his inside, the 390 of Mike Brewer. Row number 5 on the top shelf, the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. And to his inside, the 87 of the General, Andy Patton. Row number 4 on the outside, the 05 of Devo, Donovan Ross. And on the inside, the 161, the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row number 3 on the outside, that 888 of Steve Maurer. And to his inside, the Salesman in the 20, Blake Chapman. Row number 2 to the outside, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. And to his inside, the 32 of the Magic Ant-Man, Anthony Morano. Row number 1 for your A&J Custom Creations Midgets. Here at the Hughes Speedway on the outside of the front row in the 055, Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. And to his inside, the 217, the Gentleman Jack hit. Well, Jack got the pole tonight. Had to suffer through the invert there in heat race number 1. He didn't care, past 3 guys. On his way to an amazing last lap pass there in heat race number 1. Those guys really put on a show. Anthony Morano had a little part in that, and so did the Salesman, Blake Chapman, your first drivers on the inside there in the front 3 rows. Gonna be a good one, always is, here at the Hughes Speedway. And normally we've seen it become a bottom dominant racetrack. We'll see if the top rolls in at the end. Plenty of time to figure it out here as we roll through 3 and 4. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 25 laps to play in the clay at Hughes Speedway. Your A&J Custom Creations feature is underway. Battle for the lead right away. Brian Moore Sr.'s got that thing screaming like an eagle upstairs. Takes the early lead. Lap number 1, Mr. Wednesday Night. Hoping this thing stays green flag. Gonna try to walk away with a big one, but battling all throughout the field here is the 888 of Steve Maurer. He's sinking a little bit since that early restart. Started 6th, back to 9th, but keep an eye out on that 888 as he will most likely move on up through the field as the race progresses. But Jack Hitt really starting to stalk Mr. Wednesday Night out front, and you're seeing the 217 low and slow. That's the way to go. Until we get to 3 and 4, he's going to rip that outside, but take a peek a few cars back. Here comes the Salesman as his teammate Terry Landis gets into that front stretch wall, and Jeff Barker, Brandon Templeton, he starts to reel him in. Jeff Barker's the one right up the road who's dealing with the Salesman. He's got Blake to his inside. Can Blake secure the pass? He could have shut the door going down the backstretch if he wants to, but he likes going in there and hooking it low. And right now, the Gentleman out front. Can he find a way around as he gets right on the rear end? He sends it to the inside. Brian leaves the door open. The Gentleman fighting for grip coming off the exit. He can't find it. He's going to send it in the middle. Brian maybe overdrove corner entry a little bit, and that's all the Gentleman needed. Slide job for the lead. Mr. Wednesday Night back downstairs. He's going to slide it up there, but not enough speed. There goes the Gentleman. High and handsome. As we're coming to lap 16, new leader, the Gentleman Jack Hitt. holding off the rest of the field. Jeff Barker, he's got some company. Terry Landis down to the inside as Brandon Templeton was able to get by both. I told you he likes starting in the back of these things, just uses it, as a practice. And Brandon Templeton, he did just that, moved himself up fairly quickly, started 10th, up to 5th, to 31. How far can he climb on up if this thing stays green? Not a lot of time. Quick lap times here, and you got quick guys in front of you. As the salesman, he's one of them. He is starting to turn it on downstairs. Let's ride off the nose of Blake. You can see how low he gets. I mean, he almost puts that left front tire over the berm here on entry. Oh man, you almost see the car lift up. He gets so low. Such a technical racetrack, and Blake able to just nail it lap after lap after lap. And Anthony Morano, he went to give it a go low in 1 and 2. And now Brandon Templeton, he's got that thing screaming upstairs. Here comes the 31. Brandon Templeton needs a caution now more than ever. That dirt track bank 31 is really quick, but he's got a train in front of him. He's got to go low now. Maybe not where he wants to be, but he's got to find a way around. Brian Moore Sr. makes a hiccup in front of Anthony Morano. Brandon Templeton 2 for 1 here, coming to 9 to go. Can he hold him off? This is going to be important. No, Brian Moore with a slide job. Brandon Templeton counters back. He's got Blake low. Side by side as we enter 3 and 4. Brandon Templeton, he's going to have it at the line with 8 laps to play. What are we looking at here? Let's pause this on the backstretch. Look at it. He can close that down. That is a second gap. That's nothing in dirt track racing. Let's see what Brandon Templeton can do. But there's a hiccup right there. Gets over the berm. Blake Chapman looks back to the inside, and he puts on a battle here for P2. I know that's not what they want to do, but you almost got to work together if you want to run down Jack and just go out at the last lap, but they aren't going to do that. They're going to race hard, and Jack's going to love every second of it. 5 laps to go this time by. Jack hit, just ripping that outside. Calm and collected. Meanwhile, we got these guys running side by side. Blake, you know how he likes it. Down on the bottom. Brandon Templeton ripping that cushion on the outside. 2 ways, but the same goal. And Brandon Templeton has got the advantage coming out of the corners, but such a wide entry that Blake makes up a little bit more time on entry, but I think you're starting to see that grip really fade downstairs, and coming with 2 to go, the gentleman, he's going to be excited to see those 2 fingers in the air. He's only got 4 or 8 more sets of turns until he brings this thing home. And you see Terry Landis there battling to the inside of the 055 of Brian Moore Sr. there, 3 wide almost as the white flag flies. Jack hit. Coming down the backstretch for the final time, got the pole, went from 4th to 1st in his heat, started up front, and that's all he needed. He brings home the AMJ Custom Creations feature at the Hughesett Speedway, followed by Brandon Templeton. Blake Chapman rounds out your podium. Anthony Morano and Brian Moore Sr., your top 5. Brandon Templeton, I know. He loves the challenge, but man, oh man, he may be kicking himself here. Possibly could have won this thing if he didn't dig himself in such a hole starting in the back, but Brandon, he's a great sport, great run to the front. And Jack hit just proved to be too much out front in that Hooters 217. No caution flags here in the midgets. So I know those 3, they're going to be a little tired. We'll let them catch their breath. Give him that extra moment. Then we'll see if we can't get a word with the salesman, Blake Chapman. As we pop over to Discord. Yeah, like I say, they're still hopping up here. We could probably pull Blake. I see him. He wouldn't mind. He's these kids are technical enough that he'll be able to realize I pulled him up. So let's see if he's here, ready to talk. Blake, Shaggy up in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, dude, it just seemed like a little bit of a different racetrack tonight. The bottom just not hooking up as well as it has in the past. Talk to us a little bit about the race.
Yeah, I think it was still pretty good down there, but I think it was pretty good really everywhere you went on this track. And the top was just a little too fast, had a little too much momentum if you were hitting it right. And we went up there for a little bit, but it was just kind of follow the leader. So we went back down, and Brandon started racing those guys there in second and third, and that allowed us to sneak up there and get to third as well. And I was hoping that maybe we would have got a caution there at the very end, would have made things interesting for us in the top three for sure.
Yeah, does the heart skip a beat there when you see Brandon go by on the outside? And he had to throw that crossover there, try to get under those guys, but it opened the door. What are you thinking when you see the C's part?
Yeah, I'm just hoping that everybody can keep it straight and keep it out of each other, because you never know, these cars, one wrong move and it can really throw you for a ride. So but it was really clean tonight. Shout out to everyone running. Hopefully we get a couple more guys next week, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, and at the end of the day, kid, your points racing, another podium. That's going to add to the list. I know the guy you're racing out front, one less race than you, but about 100-point gap, so fairly even here. Probably when we had a drop week, but man, we're due for a good season. Great race tonight, Blake. I imagine the first of many podiums here tonight. But before we kick you out, man, who you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank the family for watching. Got to thank all the guys out at the Kite Sim Racing team, especially Terry for running with me tonight. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and Andy at AJ Custom Creations. Got to thank Jack Hitt for the admin tonight. Got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring Hometown Heroes. And of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. You can head over to their website and use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off some of their very delicious popcorn. And of course, I got to thank you for putting this broadcast on, Shaggy.
Well, hey, great run, Blake. Good run here, man. You guys were fast tonight, and maybe a late race caution mixes things up a little bit. But, hey, flag to flag, good race tonight. Congratulations. And like I said, hope I'm talking to you again, man.
I hope so. Thank you.
That's Blake Chapman, your P3 finisher. And now we bring up the man who, Brandon, I'm just going to outright ask you. I know you and Patrick, you love the challenge. You love the challenge. You don't run some of the heat races and you like starting at the back of the feature. But when you race your way up to second in a caution-free race and you're that close to the lead, you regret not running that heat race at all?
I would have ran the heat race. That was not intentional. I think my VR connected or something. It just kind of froze and went black, so I had to reboot it all. And I just, figured by that time I missed my heat and I got in right in time for warm up. So at least I got some laps. But that did make it really fun. You could go a little bit everywhere on the track. I felt like the top side was a little bit faster in a whole lap, but if you could slide a guy and then go back to the top, you could pick them off here and there. So it worked out.
No, and man, you had the move of the race. I asked Blake a little bit about it. You're stuck there in line. You're running behind Blake. Say enough's enough. You go up top. Then you get the train up top. How are you feeling? You throw that move in 1 and 2. You made it stick on the bottom, and all of a sudden, man, you get a 2-for-1 as you enter 3. I mean, that thing was a rocket ship.
Yeah, I didn't really expect it to go that well. I was just kind of throwing it down there, testing the waters. And sometimes it's like, oh, wow, that worked out. I don't know if they messed up a little bit or if it was actually that good of a line. But after that, man, it looked like Blake was really making up time on the bottom of 1 and 2 when he was diving in under there. And then I was making it up in 3 and 4. So several times I tried to, do the low in 1 and 2, high in 3 and 4. And to be honest, Blake was just getting under there. I wasn't confident enough to get it right down on the berm because I didn't want to take him out, and he was squeezing me up into the slick. So that was just a lot of fun racing.
Well, man, I know you're not a cocky guy, but I got to play devil's advocate here. We get a caution with 2-3 to go. You think we can bring this thing home tonight? I mean, you were pretty dang quick out there.
I think it would have taken a couple laps to get a little momentum, unless Jack just totally went around the outside and into turn 1, then I might have had a chance to clear him out of 2. But, he was on a rail up there. There's a reason he was in the front all night. So, kudos to him. That was a good race. So good job.
Yeah, it definitely was, man. Flag to flag. You guys put on a good show. Great hard racing. Congratulations on the P2, Brandon. Before we kick you out of here, you know the drill, man. You got a lot of nice sponsors on that thing. Who you want to thank?
I got to thank Malvern Bank there in Malvern, Iowa, Dirt Track Bank, for supporting us in our sim racing adventures. And, a bunch of old guys out here just having some fun on computers. And it's just a lot of fun. It does a lot of good for the soul. So thanks to them for supporting us, getting us out here. Got Your Six Racing Network, Joe, Friday Night Lights, the guys at Hammer Down, Kurt, Joe, Brian, everybody here at Home Extreme Images, Maley's Makery, Hogan Land and Lawn and Landscaping. Everybody watching at home, thank you, Zach, for doing the broadcast. It's been a while since I got to do an interview, so that's good.
Well, man, I got a feeling that drought's coming to an end. You've had a lot of unfortunate luck, and it's got to go the other way here eventually. So great run, Brandon, and I hope this is the first of many here to come.
Thank you.
That's Brandon Templeton, your P2 finisher, and now we get to bring up the man who he had to run the daycare tonight. He was admin. He didn't care. He went out there, got the pole. You knew you'd have to deal with the invert. You didn't care. You went out there with an amazing last lap pass in the feature. And, Jack, you just walked the dog tonight, man. That car was fast. How'd you feel?
Felt good, man. Knew I needed to get a good starting spot in the feature. Did that and did what I had to do.
Yeah, we saw you play patient there those first couple laps. Brian gets that good run out of 1 and 2, and I know you know better, Jack, but, how important is it just to be patient there? Just let him do his thing and then sink your teeth in and go to work.
Yeah, we only have 25 laps here, but it's still more than enough time to get around one guy. I knew it wasn't going to be easy with Brian, but all the confidence in the world that I knew I'd, find a spot at some point and try to get away from Blake, and did that.
Yeah, and we've seen the outside work here, don't get me wrong, but we've also seen the inside, kind of walk away and dominate here. What was it about the racetrack tonight you think that made it so racy?
I don't know. I've probably been here about a handful of times now, and it just seems like you can almost run anywhere as long as you just get that good drive out of the corner. Slider inside, outside. You can diamond it, really. It was a couple weeks ago that worked really well for me. Not really sure what it is. Fun track, and maybe some guys should come out next week and see if they can figure it out for us.
Yeah, Jack, I suck at math here, but when they do the drop weeks here, you're going to be 2 for 4. That's pretty darn good, and I think you're going to have this points lead. It's going to be pretty close, Jack, but between you and Blake, I look forward to a heck of a battle this season. Congratulations on the big win, man. Who you want to thank?
I got to thank you for putting on the broadcast. Of course, everybody that makes the league go around, all the guys showing up, putting on a green to checker race. And, of course, got to thank my wife for giving me time to do this.
Well, Jack, congratulations, man. And, it's nice to see one of the fellow admins win. A guy that does a lot of behind-the-scenes work. Jack does. He may not take credit for it, but he's one of the gears to keep this thing rolling. So thanks for that, Jack, and congratulations on the win, man. Hopefully I'm talking to you again soon.
Yeah, hopefully you can get those gambler guys out here next week.
Yeah, dude, I messaged Steven, and I forgot. He got a new job, so he's working. He's in that first week. I think he may be able to later, but he's got those weird training hours. But I'm on him about it.
Well, Gambler, FTM, whoever it is, let's see if anybody's got something for us.
That's what I'm saying. Congratulations, Jack, and way to issue the challenge there.
Thanks, bud.
Jack hit your feature winner here in the A&J Custom Creations USAC Midgets. And with that, we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to load them up and unload the 360s to play in the clay here at Hughes Speedway. Stick around. We'll be right back with part 2 of 3 for your Flatline Racing Bodies Hometown Heroes.
it's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a
bit of a hiatus, so let's get. Tonight we'll be talking about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash, found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken, I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We are back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. I'm Zach Chapman here with Shaggy TV to bring you part 2 of 3 here for Flatline Racing Bodies Hometown Heroes. And, well, the rest of the evening is presented by Flatline Racing Bodies. This is your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 sprint cars. Blake Chapman, he's been stealing the show this season. In the 360s, 4 races, 2 wins, 308 points. Joseph Grandy, 265, the man in P2, and the general Andy Patton, right there at 249 in P3. Other drivers who have won this season, you ask. Okay, fine. Joseph Grandy, he's won 1. Terry Landis, he won in an upset a couple weeks ago. Blake Chapman was running around up front. Contact with a lap car put those dreams aside, and well, we've got 5 more minutes to kill here. So if you've got to go to the bathroom, get a drink, pop some of that popcorn, or maybe you got some Galen's in the cabinet. Drivers get till 1:15 here to register for the session, so not going to call it here too early, and we do have a couple guys coming in. Patrick Spangler hasn't put a time in. Gavin Chatham, add him to the list. There's 2 other guys who will be here later this evening. And Dino, is that Dean up here? Yeah, it is. What's up, Dean?
Yes, it is. Hey, Shaggy, just wanted to let you know, because we got done early with the midgets, we can't advance till 7:45.
Yep.
So I just wanted to let you know on that. That's all.
No, you're good. You're good. I was just running my mouth about it. But, dude, why have you in here? What's it take here to win tonight? How do we get Blake off that top step?
Well, Blake just runs his bottom here like nobody's business. And, it's going to be interesting, though, with the quicker warm-up session. The track's got a little bit more bite, so it'll be interesting to see if the top goes away. That will bring the bottom back for Blake. Not that Blake can't run the top. He sure can, but it's going to be interesting. You got Gavin Chatham here, and you got Patrick Spangler's coming back, and, so there's going to be a lot of heavy hitters. And, of course, you can't forget Mr. Wednesday, Brian Moore. He always runs well here, too. So this should be a fun deal tonight.
Yeah, and just a little insight here, just to pick your brain a little bit. I mean, you said it yourself, a fresher track. Do we see ourselves moving the wing much tonight, or just going to wait until the feature?
I'm going to, mine's staying flat until I need to move it back. And even actually during the feature, I don't think I ever moved my wing past a 1 here anyways. These fixed sets are still really pretty good, where you don't have to tinker with the wing much. Now, you might have to on like a Slick Eldora or Lanier or something like this, but this track, normally, even though when it slicks off, you have a top and you have a bottom with some grip. And I think you just want to keep the wing flat. At least I know Blake does, and I don't think I ever seen Gavin move his back, and I don't think I've gone past a 1 myself.
Well, it just shows how bad I am, Dean. I'm always trying to slide that thing back for safety.
We've talked about this before, too, and, the way the setups are now, moving that wing back's a crutch. And I try to tell people, straightaway speed is so important with these cars now that, you just got to feather it a little bit more in the corner, but you want to keep your straightaway speed, and the only way to keep your straightaway speed is to keep that wing flat and keep it forward. We talked about this. I watch guys when I'm sitting in line, they all of a sudden start moving their wing back, and I get it. Track's slick, and they feel a little bit more comfortable, but you lose your straightaway speed, and then when you go in the corner, your car pushes, and then you're overcompensating, and then you're loose coming out. You're better off just leaving it flat and trying to learn how to do that. That's what I said to Clay. Clay doesn't move his wing back either at all anymore. Look how good he's getting in sprints.
Yeah, no, definitely. If you can master it with, even turning the car with just goosing it a little bit with the throttle, that's definitely the way to do it. But, man, that's why I'm up here and you guys are down low.
Well, I don't know if I do it right. I might sound better than I look on the racetrack, but, sometimes we just have to look good.
Well, Dean, we're hoping you look good tonight, man. It's almost 1:15, so if you want to run back home, you can. But I appreciate you for stepping up.
No, just wanted to let you know, so kill some time, and I'm always happy to talk to you, Shaggy, and hopefully I'll get to talk to you a couple times tonight.
Yeah, man. Good luck the rest of the way. We'll be rooting for you.
Thanks, brother.
Nice of Dino to come in and visit here for a little bit. Now, he didn't know that I was in the middle of telling you guys that I knew we weren't going to go till 7:45, but I'll tell you what. Love Dean. He's a great guy, and really that whole FTM group, they've welcomed my questions with open arms. They're a huge help, and really anybody who needs a little help, throttle control or whatever, obviously they ain't going to dump out all the tricks in the bag, but they'll get you enough to get you to where you can learn to play a little bit. And great job of keeping that competition here at a good level, and I think that's why we see so many people come back over and over season after season here to the Coast2Coast Racing League. I know I got started right before all that COVID stuff hit and ran into some people who brought me in on their team here. I'm since gone with them. I'm with a new team, but I'll be forever grateful they brought me here. And I have been around Coast to Coast probably for 4 years now, 3.5, something like that. It's been a great ride, and hopefully everybody keeps coming around for some more as we get ready to roll into your flatline racing bodies 360 sprints qualifying. Let's see who goes out on the racetrack first. It's a battle right now between Devo and Andy Patton, I think. We're going to go give it to Devo here. I think he's a little ahead. So see those laps come in here. The opener will stick around Devo. Rolls the high side through 1 and 2, middle through 3 and 4. What's it look like on the stopwatch? Devo going to bring it in. Currently P3 is Brandon Templeton in that 31 rolls around. He's got the quick time, but Dino, what can he do here on lap number 2? Can he find some more speed? The 79 comes across the line. And Dean Reynolds is going to lose a spot because Gavin Chatham, the Dark Knight, coming out of the shadows, taking P2, the Salesman P3 for now, as Brandon Templeton watches and waits. Blake Chapman's final time through 3 and 4. He loses the rear end. He's going to be slower. He's going to stay P3 as Gavin Chatham gets him on his last lap. Back and forth here at the top. And the high side banger, Patrick Smangler, just getting some TV time. I told you, he likes to start in the back. It's a cruel joke. I love you, Patrick. You got the yellow training wheels racing. Now, that is, what's before the X, Patrick? Because I know Roman numerals, and that's 10. Can't even get a zoomed in pic, and now he's going to pull it off here before I can do my investigative work. But Patrick with a blazing lap of 27.32, going to bring up the end of the field here. And I'll be surprised if we see him grid in the heat race. He might surprise us. Who knows, but see, first of 2 heat races here for the 360 sprints, rounding out the field in the 161, the Desert Demon Terry Landis. Row number 3 on the top shelf, the 390 of Mike Brewer. And to his inside, the 05 of Devo Donovan Ross. Row number 2 on the top shelf, the 31 of B-Temp Brandon Templeton. And to his inside, the Salesman in the 20, Blake Chapman. Row number 1 for heat race number 1 in your flatline racing bodies 360 sprints. On the outside, the 87, the General Andy Patton. And starting on the pole, the 94 of Gary Offit. It's the General, there he goes. Just gridded up. We were waiting on him, but he decided it was time to show up, and well, the overlay decided it was time to start giving me trouble here, so we're gonna do a little business here on my end. If this pauses, my apologies. Sometimes when I bring up the new software, it'll pause. No, it's just gonna bring up the iRacing background. Real easy to get rid of. We'll refresh one more time. And hopefully we're good to go here for the rest of the night as we roll down the backstretch for the final time. Heat race number 1 set to be underway. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 6 laps to play in the clay. Heat race number 1. Who's going to start on the pole? Blake Chapman making quick work on the inside. Started third, looking to move on up to P2, possibly first. Gary Offit ripping that top shelf as they enter in. Blake's just got the nose ahead of the general, but Andy's fighting back. That Inferno Motorsports 87. Not going to let him go by easy, but give it to Blake at the line as Gary Offit tries to hold on. He's rolling that outside, looking pretty good in the 94. Battle on behind. Devo feeling the pressure from the 390 of Mike Brewer. All behind them. A guy who we said has won a feature. Rolling around the back here at heat race number 1, the 161 in the Jeters machine. Terry Landis looking to make a big improvement here in the final 2 laps. Through 3 and 4, Blake Chapman and Gary Offit see that white flag fly to 94. He's got 4 more sets of corners to hold on. Blake Chapman gonna look to the inside. At final time through 3 and 4. The 94, Gary Offit gonna take home heat race number 1. Blake Chapman, P2, Brandon Templeton, Andy Patton, Donovan Ross, Mike Brewer, and Terry Landis round out the field. As we get ready for heat race number 2, it's going to determine the outside rows for your feature here this evening. Running out the field in the 39, the high side banger, Patrick Spangler. I'll be surprised. Oh, man, he actually made the grid. We'll see what he does. If he passes people, I'm going to be shocked. We may get the earth may freeze over. Row number 3 on that top shelf, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Into his inside, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. Row number 2, FTM Motorsports on the outside and inside. Gavin Chatham on that top shelf and Dino on the inside. Row number 1 for heat race number 2, the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night. Brian Moore Sr. on the high side, and starting on the pole, the 814 of Brad Wade. And it's still stacked over. Anyway, I'm glad I have time to refresh it for you. Because I don't for me is because the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. Heat race number 2 underway. Brian Moore Sr. and Brad Wade lead the field into turn 1. Brian Moore getting a big head of steam off that top shelf as Gavin Chatham looking to hook up and following the 99 of the Dark Knight. He did not come to play, and Brad Wade gets the door shut in his face. Gavin Chatham moving on up. Dean Reynolds moving to the top shelf. The 79 moves on up into third. Not just yet. Brad Wade sends it in, but look at the run from Dino. Gavin Chatham looks low for the lead here as we come to the halfway point. 3 laps to go. Gavin, can he find a way around, or is the top shelf where you want to be? Gavin sends it in there. Dino looks to cut under. 2 fingers in the air, 2 more trips around. Bob DeGood trying to reel in the 814 of Brad Wade, but he's just running out of time as we go through 3 and 4. White flag set the way for your leaders as Gavin Chatham bounces it off the fence. And did he just cost himself one last chance as he sends it in? Does he throw a slide job? Keeps it on the bottom. Checkered flag flies, and Brian Moore Sr. wins heat race number 2. Gavin Chatham, Dean Reynolds, Brad Wade, Bob DeGood, Jeff Barker, and Patrick Spangler. Patrick didn't pass anyone, so I did kind of expect that hung out at the back, but we'll see. We'll take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network and be right back. Your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint. Stick around. We're back live as warm-ups come to a close. Gavin Chatham, Brandon Templeton, Patrick Spangler, your top three. Blake Chapman, Andy Patton round out the top five as we get ready to go here for tonight's Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint Car feature at the Huset's Speedway. Let's take a look at our starting grid tonight. Rounding out the field, starting on the outside of row number 7 in the 39, the high side banger, Patrick Spangler, into his inside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row number 6 on that outside, the 513 of Jeff Barker, the Brewerton Beast, into his inside, the 390 of Mike Brewer. Row number 5 on the outside, the 7 of Bob DeGood, and to his inside, the 05 of Devo, Donovan Ross. Row number 4 on that top shelf, the 814 of Brad Waite. And to his inside, the 87 of the General, Andy Patton. Row number 3 to the outside, the 79 of Dino, Dean Reynolds. And to his inside, the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. Row number 2 to the outside in the 99, the Dark Knight, Gavin Chatham. And to his inside, the 20 of Blake Chapman. Row number 1 for tonight's Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint Cars. On the outside, the 055, Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr., and starting on the pole in the 94, Gary Offit. As the 94 gets ready to bring us to the green flag, Brian Moore Sr., no stranger to starting on that front row, and look for the 55 to take advantage of that early grip through row 1 and 2, swing it to that top shelf, look for an early lead, but let's see. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 25 laps to play in the clay at Huset's Speedway. We're underway. Brian Moore Sr. trying to do just that. Gavin Chatham trying to egg him on, but 94 of Gary Offit, he had enough room to shut the door. Likes it just where he is, though, right now in the middle. Maybe in no man's land. Blake's going to want to go low. The 55's going to want to go high. What does Blake Chapman do here in the early stages? You gotta play it calm here. You've seen him get into trouble in other races, and that's exactly what he does. Waits for the door to open up. The 94, Gary Offit, Brian Moore Sr. get together. The 94 goes to the inside, able to get back on the racetrack, but Gary Offit falls in the back. Gavin Chatham putting the battle on here for B2. He gets the elbows out. He gets into the 31. Brandon Templeton, broken steering. Up and over, no caution flag yet for the 31. Heartbreak for Brandon Templeton is, man, oh man, Dean Reynolds, he was able to sneak through sometime or somehow with the net code, but Blake Chapman out front looking to walk away 2 seconds up the road from that man in the 99, Gavin Chatham, who looks behind. He sees his teammate trying to work to the outside of the 55. Brian Moore Sr. low and slow, finding all that grip down the back stretch and front stretch. Making it work right now as the caution flag flies, the 814 of Brad Waite. And, well, I clicked the wrong thing. I apologize. It actually starts with Devo, I think. So let's watch this 5 here. I'm not too sure when it's going to break out. Brad drives it in a little deep, gets into the left rear of Devo, and from there they tangle. Oh, Bob DeGood gets in there. Jeff Barker gets in there. He's able to squeak through, but it was enough for the caution flag. And Brandon Templeton, he's going to wonder, well, what in God's name? Why was there a flag there? What happened to me? And he just wasn't there to receive the benefit of the flag. Tough break for Brandon Templeton, and well, I brought up his string of bad luck. He didn't, and it looks like it continues. Tough break for the 31 here as we get set to go back green next time by, I believe. We'll see the lights go off. Not In this camera, we won't. Try and see, yeah, lights are off. None of them blinking going down the backstretch. Nothing blinking above the Steve King Foundation pace truck. So we're going to go back this time by at the Hughes Speedway. Let's know who you're rooting for. I didn't make my pick yet, but I'm telling you, if you watched by now and heard the way I was talking, it was Blake Chapman. So we'll see what the kid can do. Got the lead here, 19 to go. Great restart as we're back underway. Andy Patton stuck there in the middle. He had to get off. He got a real good run on Brian Moore Sr. on that restart, but had to lift out. Now Terry Landis, he takes advantage. He thinks about peeking up on that outside. The Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker, he tightens up on entry. He's got to get out of the throttle, and now Terry Landis move on over Andy Patton. Not just yet. The 161 struggles with grip coming off the corner, and all of a sudden, battle up front. The Dark Knight, look at him ripping the outside. New leader out of 4. Here comes Gavin Chatham. Full throttle motorsports to the party. Blake through 1 and 2, but it's all 99 through 3 and 4. Gavin takes the lead right back. Gavin flirts with the middle line now through 1 and 2. Makes that worked. I mean, that really worked for the 99. He's going to extend that lead down. Got it up to 0.3 of a second. And now Gavin Chatham goes low right in front of Blake. Shuts the door and says, hey, this is my racetrack, kid. I'm back in town. Gavin Chatham out front with 12 to go. 3 wide just up the road. Andy Patton was in the middle for a second. Brian Moore Sr. to the outside, but he got a good run, and now he takes a peek on Terry Landis. Can't complete the pass as Andy Patton gets into the front stretch wall. Little loose on entry, able to gather it back. Leaders come across the charity stripe. 10 more laps to go. Blake really forcing the issue there, clips the apron, and we're seeing that lead out to a second. Blake finally moved up to that top shelf. He saw the blueprint. Now it may just be a little bit too late. Only 9 laps left to play. And Gavin Chatham, he bounces that right rear off the wall. No harm, no foul for now. Maybe even help the car out a little bit as the 99 rolling around here at the Hughes Speedway. And this is something we haven't seen. Somebody other than the 90, or than the 20, excuse me, with over a second lead here in the 360 sprints, and Gavin Chatham eating up every second of it. Dean Reynolds looking at a podium here if this thing stays green. He's got a big gap to the 161 of Terry Landis, who's currently in 4th, and he's got a long train behind him. 3 cars, Jeff Barker at the back of it. Gavin out front here, 4.5 to go as we roll through 3 and 4. You see your leader coming to 4 to go. That's your gap to Blake Chapman, and you got to think without a caution, 1.7 seconds, how you going to make that up? But the answer is you're not. You're going to need the 99 to make a mistake, or you're going to need a caution. 3 laps left to play. 1 3/4 second lead for the Dark Knight. We didn't sneak out of the shadows tonight, stormed that top shelf and absolutely took it like candy from a baby. It just hasn't looked back. Gavin Chatham ripping around here, getting awful close to lap traffic. Shouldn't be a factor though as the white flag flies. One more trip down the backstretch for the 99 of Gavin Chatham. Didn't start up front, but sure as heck gonna finish there. The Dark Knight Gavin Chatham brings home the checkered flag at Hughes Speedway. Blake Chapman, Dean Reynolds, your podium side by side. Battle to the line there between Brian Moore and Andy Patton. You saw Brian just edged him out. Jeff Barker 6th, Brewer 7th, Brad Wade 8th, Bob DeGood 9th, Terry Landis 10th after an unfortunate last lap mishap, I'd assume, because he was running there in P4. But another great race here at the Hughes Speedway. This place has just been lights out with great racing here all season and with the hometown heroes. And we absolutely got another one here tonight. And, you're thinking, interviews, I'm going to get out of here. No, you're not, because we're not done. We got the 410s coming next. So stick around for these drivers' interviews. Watch a little advertisement. That's what pays the bills. And after that, we'll be back out with the 410s. But it looks like I got a guest up here. A man who came up, updated us. And, Dean, you're in that podium spot. It was a long race tonight. Only a couple cautions. How you feeling?
Yeah, actually only one caution. And
oh, that's right, one. It should have been two. Brandon Templeton, I've got that in my head. He got hosed pretty bad there without that caution.
Well,
He was still.
And I actually neck coated right through him too. So
yeah,
I'm
it was
like,
crazy.
it
was
so
crazy.
I'm like, whoops. So, no, I tell you, a little more tired than normal because you're up on the wheel. Because like we talked, that track had more bite than normal. And I was staying with Blake and Gavin for a while, and then I nailed the turn one wall hard and wrecked my steering a little bit. And then I said, you know what? I'm not going to catch Blake no matter what I do. Let's just, I started going to the middle. And I said, let's bring it home to top three. Finishing third behind these two guys. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. So, we'll take that and, we'll just move on to the 410s.
No, yeah, especially because, we're watching you now. This is before you get into the wall. And you and Gavin, we've seen people run the high side, but then we've seen two guys now run the FTM high side. How hard is it to go in there and get inches from that wall, man, lap after lap? And well, you said it, you made a mistake, but the speed definitely worth the price, I think, up there.
Yeah, and that's where I do like to run is up here, and my force feedback actually stayed for this race, so that helped me out greatly there too. But that's what you got to do. Now, Gavin was telling me, though, you got to go down to the bottom of 1 and 2. And I tried that, and I just didn't feel comfortable. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to stay up top. Maybe the bottom will wear out a little bit, and the top will come on in. But sometimes I just can't switch lanes real easy like these guys can. If I run the top for like 15 laps, I all of a sudden can't go to the bottom, and because I overdrive the bottom. And so I just stayed up top until, like I said, until I hit the wall there. Actually, I hit it twice, and it was about 4 laps to go. And I said, oh boy, I said, you know what? I'm just going to roll this middle and just bring her home for third.
Well, Dino, you're able to do exactly that. And when those guys up front are putting down times like that, you got to be happy just to keep them in that front or that, out the windshield. And that's exactly what you did tonight. Great run tonight, Dean. Congratulations, man. Who you want to thank?
Well, I want to thank Brian Moore Sr. I finally got him back from last night for kicking my ass. So, we were starting to look, so I said, I got to beat Brian here. He's Mr. Wednesday, and I know he's going to be tough, but I think the track helped me a little bit because I was on the outside there. But, we have a lot of fun together, and, it's good racing with Brian. So, but I got to pick on him a little bit. But I got to thank the guys from Full Throttle Motorsports. Gavin Chatham was really helping us greatly. And then if you notice, Mike Brewer, that was his first ever sprint race, and he still got 7th. So, it shows you what the coaching that Gavin gets you, which is really cool. And we like to welcome Mike Brewer to the FTM team. We signed him this week. I've known Mike for years. We've actually raced with him for years, and he was always independent. And then he got part-time teams and stuff. But we saw he was kind of independent again. So he said, "Mike, you want to come on to FTM?" And he said, "Absolutely." So we're glad he joined us. So Shaggy, got to thank you, Shaggy TV, for doing the telecast. I got to thank. Oh, who's the sponsor? I forget. I'm the admin.
Flatline Racing Bodies.
Flatline Racing Bodies. Thanks so much for their contribution so Shaggy can go do the TV. I got to do my normal. I got to thank Anthony's wife, Sherry, for allowing him to iRace so we can have fun with him. Got to thank Isaac's girlfriend, Kelsey, for doing the same there. I better thank mine, Megan, for letting me do this because I forgot to say that last night during the retreads. Thank God I didn't show her send her the link. My dad's watching, hopefully, and want to say hi to my dad. And, just thanks to everybody for doing what they do. And, Super Dirt Car Series, World of Outlaws, and Dirt Vision, my companies that I work for. Hopefully everyone gets to enjoy some real-life racing by watching them. And we're going to move on to Hometown Heroes 410s.
Now, Dino, before I kick you out of here, I lied. There is one more question I want to try to remember to ask everybody, but I'm probably not going to. Is there any thought when you hop in this 410 next to take some power out of it, or are we just letting it swing?
No, I do for feature. I don't for time trials in the heat. But I do take some power out in the feature because, the last, even though it's only a 25 lap feature, the last 10 laps, you you feel it. Now, other guys don't. Like Blake Chapman never does, and he runs the bottom. So that shows you how good he is on his throttle control. I need to do it because I don't have any patience and control. So the only way I can do it is, take some. Not you can't take gear out because you're fixed, but I'll knock down the throttle. Maybe 97, 96 will run.
Well, Dino, I wish you the best of luck, man, and hopefully we're seeing that 79 on the podium after the next one. Good luck, Dean.
All right, Shaggy. Thanks again, man.
And now we're going to bring up the man who get used to talking to him last, but he gets it stolen from him there on the restart. Blake, you committed to that bottom as always, man, but all of a sudden, the high side started rolling, and you just got caught downstairs.
Yeah, I didn't think that top was going to come in quite yet. I expected it to probably come in towards the end of the feature there, but yeah, that bottom just kind of went away there in 3 and 4 a lot, and that top was the place to be. Kudos to Gavin, he found it, and he blew my doors off when he went by me. So, I was just trying to hold on to it from then on. So, yeah, it was kind of a weird track. I felt like we didn't get a super hard count, but the track slipped off a lot, and it wasn't what we were expecting, but hopefully we'll be able to adapt a little better next week and in the 410s.
No, definitely, but I mean, it just shows why all of us, I think, love this track, man. The variety. I mean, when have we seen so far in the weeks where we're watching you guys fight side by side right now? I mean, you're killing them in the bottom in 1 and 2, and then you said it. You just want to be up top in 3 and 4. I think this is one of the first times we've seen a crossover like this here.
Yeah, definitely. Usually that top can get fast towards the end, and especially in 3 and 4, because the bottom really goes away in that corner. And it went away like really, really quickly in a snap of a finger there. On that restart. So definitely is not what we were expecting. But like you said, it's a fun racetrack. After I got past, I was searching around a little bit. I even know the middle can come in here sometimes and be the fast line. So, it keeps you on your toes for sure, and it's a lot of fun.
No, yeah, and I know you're a smart kid, and Gavin's only run one race this season. He's not points racing, you are, so you're able to go down there, hammer down a P2. Congratulations on the great points night, man. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank the family for watching. Got to thank all the guys at the Coast2Coast Racing team, especially Terry for running with me tonight. Got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and Andy and AJ Custom Creations. Got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring Hometown Heroes. Got to thank Dean Reynolds for the admin tonight. And of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. You can head over to their website and use code CART at checkout for 15% off some of their very delicious popcorn. And I got to thank you for putting this broadcast on every week, Shaggy.
That is good information to know. I didn't know Dean was the admin. Now, that should make everybody want to admin. Admins are 2 for 2 on the podium tonight, so we'll see if we can keep it rolling here in the 410s. But good luck, Blake. Hopefully, man, we can keep those misfortunes behind you here in the 410s. I look forward to talking to you again.
I hope so. Thanks, Shaggy.
It's Blake Chapman, your P2 finisher. And now we bring up the man who I stole him from talking to his teammates. Sorry, Gavin. But boy, oh boy, man, you showed us a line here. Now, obviously, if you want to be fast, man, you got to go up and get that cushion. But boy, man, right up against the wall. I mean, the reward's there, but how risky is it getting that close to the wall every time, man, especially through 3 and 4?
First, I just want to say, say an apology to Brandon Templeton there. I definitely, when I was trying to pass him, I gassed it up a little bit, and I pushed into him a little bit. And I think I sent him into the wall. So first and foremost, I want to apologize for that. That was a big mistake on my part. But yeah, no, just running the cushion up there. It's so fast, especially in 3 and 4. I was telling Blake and Dean how much I really love running up there, and 3 and 4 for some reason at Houston, I don't know, it just clicks for me, I guess. I don't know. But it's just so fast up there, and then the bottom. When in 3 and 4 in the bottom, you gotta really slow the car down to make sure you get that grip off the corner. So I was able to just keep sailing it up there, and I was really glad. I know Blake loves riding the low line there, so I was just hoping he'd stay down there, and when I was able to get past him and tried a few different things in 1 and 2 with the middle, and the middle was kind of there a little bit, and it stuck a little bit, but then ultimately the bottom was just the best way to go in 1 and 2.
Yeah, I rewinded a little bit back so we could watch this while we talk to you, but I'm actually watching you do that right now. You go at him back and forth for a couple laps, and you tried to hammer down that outside through 1 and 2, and You said enough is enough. And do you think going down there to the middle, I mean, we're watching you now, you get a much better run. You find a little bit of tack coming off. You think that was the big difference there in finishing the pass? Because we know how tough Blake is on the bottom. I mean, he was going to keep coming back lap after lap, and you finally just put it all together.
Yeah, Blake's no slouch for sure. He's fast, he's smooth, and he knows what he's doing. And yeah, just ultimately knowing when you need to switch your line. The top was starting to get a little bit rougher, and especially 1 and 2, the top's kind of has a weird feel to it where the car will kind of push going towards the wall coming off the corner if you're running the top. So you kind of got to kind of feather it a little bit or angle the car. Go down the racetrack. It was starting to get slick up there, and I knew it was starting to go away. So I knew how to do something, and probably pretty quick. Because if you give him an opportunity to pounce, he's definitely going to take it. Because he knows what he's doing. He's fast, and he'll take the opportunity if you make it a mistake. So definitely had to get down there, and the middle stuck a couple times, and ultimately when I sailed it off in 3 and 4, when I was able to clear him pretty good, I jumped out of the bottom and took his line away, and then I think he started searching as well, but. We just stayed smooth and stayed focused, hit our marks, and hit good lap times, and we were able to pull out the win.
And I'll tell you what, Gavin, I mean, obviously, Blake, love the kid. We share a last name, man. I root for him, but I don't think you really realize what you just did. I mean, yeah, he's only won 2 races this season. Should have won them all, involved in a couple incidents here and there. And, man, he had been winning these things I think he won one by 9 seconds. So to come in here and just tear it down, man, really catch him off guard. I mean, when you go down and hit the bottom through 1 and 2, you got him pushing it so much that he's missing his entry. I mean, you had him driving tonight, Gavin. What a wheel, man. Congratulations on the win. Who you want to thank?
I just want to thank you for doing an awesome job with the broadcast, Shaggy. It's always fun to go back and watch them too as well. So I always look forward to doing that after the races. I just want to thank Coast to Coast, all the sponsors, all the admin, everybody involved in this league to allow us to put these races on, allow us to come out here and put on a good show for everybody. I just want to thank Full Throttle Motorsports FTM, Mike Schick Motorsports Design, Velocity Race Design, Northeast Outlaw Motorsports, Chatham Motorsports, Swan Speed Shops, and Super Dirt Car Series. I want to thank all the sponsors, all the help, the support to the team. I just want to thank the fans for coming out and watching these races and supporting this league. And I hope we put on a good show for you all tonight. And I just want to thank my fans as well for coming out and watching the races and supporting.
Well, dagnabbit, Gavin, you're not allowed to leave yet. I even told Dean I'd forget to ask. I forgot to ask Blake. But, all right, when we unload this 410, man, do we tune down any power or do we let that thing sing?
I can't give away my secrets there.
All right. Well, hey.
No, I think it's a very fine. I'll be honest. It's a very fine line between tuning it down too much and not tuning it down enough. I'll be adjusting.
Yeah. I don't want a number. I don't expect a number. I don't expect a number. I just didn't know if you're one of those guys who play with it because, like, what Dean had mentioned. I mean, I forgot to ask Blake. But normally he's one of those guys, he rarely touches that thing. I don't know how he does it on the bottom, but he normally doesn't touch it. And then I know guys like Patrick Spangler, they'll turn it down in the 80s. But, everybody, different strokes for different folks. But I expect you up towards the front at the end, Gavin. Great run here in the 360s, man. I'll be rooting for you.
Thanks, Shaggy. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's a fine line, like I said, but I mean, it's double-edged sword too. Just real quick, since you're asking about it, it's a double-edged sword. You give away the horsepower because once you give it away, you can't get it back. So it is a fine line, and what do you want to do? And some guys it works well, they don't do it at all, and some guys, I will say, if you drop it down, it does help with if you make some mistakes, it definitely helps you correct them a little bit easier. Obviously, with having the less horsepower, but it also depends on how slick the track is too. So we'll get out there, run a couple laps, and see what it looks like, and probably go from there.
Well, hey, we'll be rooting for you, Gavin. Good luck, man. The Dark Knight brings home another checkered flag. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Your feature winner in the 99. And, I know Blake has his fans out there, and it's clear. I root for Blake. I think he should be running Pro Series, to be honest with you. Kid's really good. He's one of my favorites. But, man, when you come in and you burn the place down when Blake has just been building it up, dominating, and to come in and win in that fashion, not start on the front row, have to work your way through some fast guys. Heck of a win for the 99 of Gavin Chatham, and hopefully he can come back here in the later weeks, keep Blake on his heels a little bit. But that's going to do it for the 360 portion of Hometown Heroes. Stick around, and we're going to be right back with your Flatline Racing Bodies 410s at the Huset's Speedway. Stick around.
it's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a
Bit of a hiatus, so let's get. Tonight we'll be talking about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We're back live on the Coast2Coast Racing Network. I'm Zach Chapman with Shaggy TV. And we're ready to bring you part 3 of 3. There's Terry Landis makes contact right in front of the camera. Here at the Hewlett Speedway, we're here for the Flatline Racing Bodies 410s. But seen it play a couple times throughout the night, but I want to touch on, it's one of the most, that isn't a very correct English way to say it, but Coast to Coast, they do a lot here with charities, and we got another big one coming up, and this is for a real important foundation. The Coast2Coast Racing League and Extreme eSpeed TV proudly present the 2nd annual Coast2Coast Speed Week, with all proceeds benefiting the Steve King Foundation. Join us for an adrenaline-fueled journey. 2 tracks, 10 cars, 10 races, $500 in payouts. Door prizes, as well as a trophy to the overall winner. So if you're interested, go to c2crl.com to sign up. It's going to be an awesome event. Always is. Anytime Coast to Coast puts on a charity event, Knoxville Nationals has a special place in my heart. They do that for the Steve King Foundation as well. But warm-ups come to a close, and we get ready to roll into qualifying here at the Hughes Speedway. We'll see who goes out on the racetrack first. Got my money on the 31 of Brandon Templeton, but I'm an honest man. I'd be wrong. Stephen Goldner. I'll show you where Brandon Templeton is. See, he's behind. Stephen Goldner wins the race off pit road. Going to rip the high side through 3 and 4. All that steam. Take it low through 1 and 2. Finds the grip. Hooks up with that left rear. Plants it in the tack. Goes back up top through 3 and 4. May not have liked his 1 and 2. Go back up top through 1 and 2. Let's see what he's got. Brandon Templeton is your pole sitter with an 11-11 for the 31. What can Goldner do in his second time around? The Brewerton Beast purple through sector 1. Jeff Barker puts it P2 in the 5-1-3. What can he do? Second time around as the Salesman purple through sector 1. Not too sure what happened for Blake there. Was purple and now went purple in the bottom. Oh, there we go. I was worried he was going slow down the backstretch, but there it is. The Salesman finds the speed at 10.9. Tells Barker to scoot on over. And Blake, does he go quicker the second time around? The answer is no. Because the Dark Knight, your 360 winner, currently P4. Can he find improvement? He gets so close to that wall, but slower on lap number 2. And Gavin Chatham must stay out here, do a little work, see if he can't figure something out. I think maybe he realized I should have stayed low. Gavin improves a little bit there. That would have been a 10.90, which would have put Gavin on the pole, I think so. Coulda, woulda lap for Gavin Chatham is Jeff Barker, Brandon Templeton, your top 3 behind the Salesman, Blake Chapman, who is also, surprise, surprise, that's the surprise of the night, winning all 3 divisions here. Blake Chapman, 306 points. Brian Moore Sr., 263 in second. And Andy Patton, third in points. As we see, they're ready to roll for heat race number 1. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. Row number 3 on the outside, the 161, the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. And to his inside, the 055 of Brian Moore Sr. Row number 2 on that top shelf, the Salesman, Blake Chapman. He's your pole winner. And to his inside, the 31 of B10, Brandon Templeton. Row number 1 for heat race number 1 in your flatline racing bodies. 410 sprint cars on the outside, the 87 of the General Andy Patton. And to his inside, starting on the pole, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Bob DeGood going to look to take advantage of this front row starting spot. Can he set the pace here early? Going to have to see what Blake Chapman does. Gets the pole, but a 4-car invert. And now Brandon Templeton. Is there a good midget race? Tough luck in the 360s. He's back at it here one more time. Can he change the tide? 6 laps to play in the clay here at Hughes Speedway. Heat race number 1 underway. Oh, Bob DeGood looks to the inside, and he sees the 31 of Brandon Templeton. He's down there. Bob tries to shut the door. Nothing Brandon Templeton could do, and add to the heartbreak for the 31 as the Salesman and his teammate Terry Landis mow right on through. And Andy Patton clips that inside berm. He's looking now. He's got to fight a loose race car. He settles it down. But the top 4 all spaced out here as we roll through 3 and 4. We'll show you what it looks like. Blake, Terry, Patton, Moore. That's your top 4 is Brian Moore. This is going to be really the only, well, I say the only battle, but Terry goes to the outside, has a little hiccup, and all of a sudden Andy Patton starting to reel him in here. There's enough time for the general here as we hop under that front wing. You better not rip it off or we're going to lose the camera as the white flag flies. One more trip around for the salesman. Blake Chapman through 3 and 4, comes off the corner, checkered flag flies, and he takes home heat race number 1. Terry Landis holds on to P2. Andy Patton, Brian Moore Sr., Bob DeGood, and Brandon Templeton round out the field. As we take a look at our second and final heat race of the evening here for your Flatline Racing Bodies hometown heroes. On the outside of row number 3 in the 814, Brad Waite. And it is inside the 41 of the librarian, Pat Boyce. Row number 2 on the outside, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker in the 513. And it is inside the 99, the Dark Knight, Gavin Chatham. Row number 1 for your Flatline Racing Bodies 410 Sprint Cars Heat Race number 2. On the outside, the 30 of Steven Goldner. And it is inside the 79 of Dean Reynolds. As we get to refresh this again, but I'll tell you what, that's the benefits of, you've heard me say it many times, racing with these guys for so long. I personally don't need an overlay. You probably don't either. I know all these drivers. As the green flag's high, it's ready to fly. Dino drops the hammer in heat race number 2 underway. Steven Goldner with a rough start. Gavin gets into his teammate. Goldner goes up and over. And man, oh man, Dean Reynolds at 79. Something not handling right on that thing, and he's got to settle it down. But meanwhile, the librarian took the kids to school, takes the lead. As Brad Waite trying to mount a charge here on the outside in the 814. Pat Boyce clips the apron. Brad Waite thinks about looking low. Pat shuts the door. 4 laps to go here, plenty of time. Does Pat Boyce close the door? The answer's yes. Goes low, Gavin Chatham. He's trying to find some grip down there as he looks low. What kind of run can he get off of 2? Side by side as they enter the corner. Gavin's got to keep it low as Brad's right there in the librarian. Class is almost over here. 1.5 more trips, 6 more corners. Can the librarian hold on? Gavin Chatham, big swing, but he's got to pitch it off. White flag flies. Oh, that is not the correct camera. Terrible view, but Pat Boyce through 3 and 4 for the final time. And Pat Boyce brings home heat race number 2. Gavin Chatham, P2. Brad Waite, 3rd. Jeff Barker, 4th. Dean Reynolds, 5th. And Steven Goldner with a heartbreak there, coming home 6th as we take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. And we will be right back with your Flatline Racing Bodies 410 features. Stick around. back live on the Coast2Coast Racing Network. About to roll into tonight's final feature of the evening. Your flatline racing bodies 410s. Blake Chapman, Gavin Chatham, Brandon Templeton, your top three in warm-ups. Those two gave us a treat in the 360s. Will we get it again? Here come feature time. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. Starting on the outside of row number 6 in the 12 or in the 30 machine, Steven Goldner, and to his inside the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. Row number 5 on the outside, the 79 of Dean Reynolds, and to his inside the 7 of Bob DeGood. The 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker, lines up on the outside of row number 4, and to his inside the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. Row number 3 on the top shelf, the 814 of Brad Wade, and to his inside, the 87 of the General, Andy Patton. Row number 2 on the outside, the 99 in the Dark Knight, Gavin Chatham, and to his inside, Old Smoky in the 161, the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row number 1 for your flatline racing bodies 410 sprint car feature. On the outside, the 41 of the librarian Pat Boyce. And starting on the pole in the 20 machine, the salesman Blake Chapman. No relation. I wish there was. Maybe some of that sprint car talent would have rubbed off on this man up here. But there's a reason I'm up here. And they're down there as we roll around one more time behind the Steve King Foundation pace truck. 25 laps at the Hughes Speedway. 12 410s purring around at pace speed are about to scream. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 25 laps to play in the clay at Hughes Speedway. Oh, man, drivers mixing it up here early. Terry Landis right to that inside. Pat Boyce slipping up a little bit on the restart. And, well, Gavin Chatham, he's going to wonder where he needs to go. He's going to take a look here in the middle, going to wonder if he can get around the 41. But he takes a peek to the inside. Andy Patton was there for just a second. And you don't want to race too long because this guy out front, Blake Chapman, he's going to walk away with him. And Terry Landis doing a great job right now of holding on to P2 as Brian Moore Sr. in the outside wall. Caution is out. See if we can take a look at what happened to it and see what happened to that 055. Oh, okay. Sorry, Shaggy was looking down at my controller monitor. Clearly, it started already. Let's see. So Dino gets a little squirrely up top. Goldner thinks about ducking in the middle there, but he couldn't go up real high because Dino was up there. And Brian just comes across that left front and, probably did not know Goldner was there. At this point, the right front's broken. He can't steer, so he needs to stop. Takes a while for the caution flag to come out. Eventually he does. It may make it a little interesting up front now. The Desert Demon going to be stuck on that top shelf. Blake will want the inside. Lights are still on the Steve King Foundation pace truck. Not going back green just yet. It's coming soon here at the Hughes Speedway, and I imagine not going to get many of those yellow flags here tonight, so take advantage of the break here if you can as a driver. This track tends to go towards the green flag runs. Final time down the backstretch under pace speed as the Steve King Foundation pace truck lights are off. The two KSR teammates, Krite Sim Racing 1 and 2, set to bring us back to the green flag. As the green flag is high, it's ready to fly. Blake Chapman drops the hammer and we're back underway. Good jump for Blake. Now the back. Oh, contact me in the back. Dino up and over. Oh, boy. He takes the wing with him. No caution flag just yet. Dino's going to try to get out of the way, but man, oh man, him and Andy Patton wondering what they did to deserve that. The racing gods really let them down, but Gavin loving every second of it. He took advantage. He goes up to P2. Now he's going to see if he can run down the 20 of Blake Chapman, who wasted no time getting up to that top shelf. He's not going to allow the 99 to rip around him one more time as you see him battling there in the back. Brandon Templeton, look at him. He's taking a peek down low. Can he get by the Librarian? P-Temp involved in that early accident in the heat race. None of his fault. But he's moved on up, got himself into the top 5, looking to make it a little more. The Librarian, he's looking good. Loses the rear end a little bit there, but Gavin Chatham, cue the jaw music. Dun-dun, dun-dun. He is creeping up on Blake Chapman. Tick, 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 tick. Let's take a look at the laps. Not a significant amount, you know, about half a tenth. There it is, almost a full tenth. But he's just gnawing at him every single lap. It's one thing to catch a guy. Well, it's another thing to pass him. We'll see if Gavin can find a way around. As he reels him in one more time, a tenth and a half. He's probably got Blake taking peeks up in that rear view mirror. And when you got a guy doing that, you already got him beat. And Gavin trying to look to the inside here, trying to find some tack. Gotta go where Blake isn't. As man, I want to look at other battles on the racetrack, but right now, you know how quick it can go in dirt. These guys right on each other. Let's see, though, getting pretty good back here. Steven Goldner on the inside of the Librarian. He's trying to follow Brandon Templeton around. Him and the 41 make contact. Pat Boyce gets into the outside wall. Does a little magic trick. Gets the wing back. Still rolls on. We take a peek back up front. 10 laps to go as we come down the backstretch. Looking to get 9 to go coming out of 4. Gavin Chatham searching all around. Trying to make it work as he gets to the inside. Andy Patton gonna pull one out of the way. No slide job for the lead. Gavin gonna stay upstairs. Maybe had a chance. 8 laps for the boys to play. Can Gavin find a way around? As you see there, Terry Landis all by his lonesome in P3. He doesn't even get to watch this. We're getting treated to something Terry's gonna have to go back and watch later. But Blake now, he's smoothing it out. He's digging that lead back. Got it back to 0.4 of a second with 6 laps to go. Did Gavin wear down the chisel, or can he keep etching into that lead? 5 laps to go. What do you do if you're Gavin Chatham? Do you make a big move? You're not points racing. The guy in front of you is. That. I think that means you can be a little more aggressive. Maybe force Blake to play a hand he doesn't want to use. Coming through 3 and 4. 3 laps to go. They're right there. Gavin trying to use up all that racetrack. He's a quicker car in 1 and 2. Blake's maybe got the edge here in 3 and 4. What can Gavin do? Coming to 2 laps to go. He sends it back down on the bottom. He's taking a peek. Not gonna throw the slide job. Gonna keep it down low. White flag flies. We're side by side. Does Gavin throw it in here? He's going to keep it down low. Who's it going to be coming to the line? Blake Chapman wins the 410 features presented by Flatline Racing Bodies by 0.03 of a second over the Dark Knight Gavin Chatham. Terry Landis, P3, Goldner 4th. And the Librarian rounds out the top 5. Great run for the 41 of Pat Boyce. But boy, oh boy, Gavin, he got close. Just couldn't find the grip. And the salesman going to be talking to us last here after bringing home the 410 checkered flag. Great run, man. Huset Speedway. This has been a phenomenal Hometown Heroes, and I hope the rest of the league agrees. Hopefully we can keep this track in the schedule, like, or in the rotation is what the word I was looking for. Definitely racy, promotes good racing, and we were treated to another one here tonight. Let's see if we can pull up the guy who finished P3, and it's this man,
Yes, we're good.
the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Terry,
Hey, Jaggy.
how are you doing, man? Another podium in that purple Jeters machine. You got that thing rolling this season. How you feeling?
Oh man, what a workout! We were just talking. That was a workout, that race.
Yeah, I mean, you've been around all night, and I think combined, Terry, 5 or 4 cautions. So, I mean, how the arms feeling? I mean, you whooped.
Yeah, that's what me and Pat were just talking about. Blake, we're just talking about that. We'll all feel like Popeye.
Oh, Blake can't be whipped, can he? I mean, what is he, 17 years old? Come on.
Yeah, I know, right? He could go another 100-lapper probably.
Yeah, he's just trying to make us feel better. But Terry, man, you had to work hard tonight. An interesting start there. You had fallen back to 4th, but you're able to move back on up. And, I mean, clearly 3rd place car tonight. But what do we got to do to go hunt down those front 2?
Man, I'll tell you what, they had it locked down. That they followed the groove. It was running low in 1 and 2, I think, and then up in high in 3, 1 and 2, and low in 3 and 4 for me.
Yeah, and I mean, Dino talked to us a little bit about that after the 360s and the 410, man, that much harder. But when you're rotating top one corner, bottom the other, how hard is it to just, I mean, to be perfect, not overdrive the entry when you go low? I mean, talk to us about that.
That's why I'm 61 and Blake 17, and he nails it every lap. But yeah, it's hard when you got to concentrate. I got to hit it up with this side, and then I got to hit it down low. Without smacking the walls. But it was pretty close up there. Night 1 and 2, there was a big lump in the middle of the turn. If you hit it wrong, it just threw you right to the left-hand side there.
Well, yeah, we saw some cars bike sideways there and fight that looseness. But, man, you're able to overcome it tonight. Bring home another podium in the Purple People Eater. Congratulations. Who you want to thank, bud?
Oh, well, thank Jeter, of course, and you for putting the show on. And who's the sponsor here, buddy?
Flatline.
That's what I thought. Flatline Auto Bodies, because they get wrecked and you need them sometimes, and they can fix you up. And then Galen's Homegrown Popcorn. Use the word cart and get 15% off. And my boy Blake, congratulations, and my wife Judy.
Well, congratulations, Terry. Another podium, man. Good run, and I can't wait to talk to you. Hopefully I'm talking to you tomorrow night, man. Good luck.
All right, Jake. Thank you.
That's the Desert Demon, Terry Landis, your P3 finisher. And now we're going to bring up the man who the roles got reversed a little bit, but I'll tell you, you add a little bit more sand into that hourglass, and that 99, she was coming again. Gavin, talk to us about that hot rod.
It was amazing. It was an amazing race. The car felt really, really good out there. It was a great race between me and Blake. You know what though, driver screwed up. I made two minor errors that probably could have had Blake cleared maybe, or at least been a little bit further up side by side with him. I clipped the berm in 1 and 2, and in 3 and 4. Trying to do a slider on him. I knew I was going to clear him, and then I think on the last lap there, I was trying to get all the moisture coming off the bottom. I clipped it again. It just killed my momentum. And then I almost still got him again. I messed up my entry in 3 and 4, and I still almost got him. So, but no, Blake ran a good, clean race. He was fat. He's tough to. You're not going to make. You can't make mistakes and expect to be passing him. So, congrats to him on the win. It was a great battle, but the car felt awesome. It felt really good. It was a heck of a drag race down there to the line.
Now I know you want to do it the right way, Gavin, but they're coming into 4 or 5 to go. When you start edging up underneath them going down the backstretch, is there any thought creeping in that head to send that sucker in and go for a slide job?
It's tough to do here. And honestly, sometimes too, it might hurt you more. Houston's is so tight that you throw a slider, especially how slick it is, the car will just keep sliding up. You'll end up getting in the wall. So kind of crossed my mind, but I thought I could make the bottom work, and especially the way I had the car rolling. I thought it'd be better to pass that way because sometimes you send that slider in and you end up sliding up. And you have to get off it so much it kills all your momentum, or you kind of send it a little too much. You get up in the wall. There wasn't a lot to bite, a lot of bite up there at the top, unless it was at the very very top in 3 and 4. And then 1 and 2, but the 1 and 2 is just too far around. But um, to get there, by the time you got there and got the car going again, it probably would just kill my momentum anyway. So I don't think it would have worked unless I kind of just planted it on his nose and had to have him basically stop, but and killed his momentum. But I thought I could make the bottom work, and I almost did. It just a couple errors on my part. But that's racing. We'll have to go one spot better next time.
Yeah, man. I mean, you had the hook set. You were reeling him in. Just ran out of time. That was a heck of a run, Gavin. Congratulations on another podium, man. We need you here on Wednesday nights. You're giving Blake a run for his money. And well, you see, I mean, come on. You're a realistic driver. If you're not here, you saw what would have happened tonight. So, great run, Gavin. We appreciate you showing up. Way to make it interesting. Good P2, man. Who you want to thank?
Thanks, Shaggy. Now, unfortunately, with my schedule, I can only do every other week. So I get here when I can, and I don't want to let Blake run away and Patrick and those guys run. I know Patrick's always good too. I don't want to let those guys run away with this too much. I gotta give them a little bit of competition. But no, I just want to thank you, Shaggy, for doing an awesome job with the broadcast. I want to thank Coast to Coast Racing, all the sponsors, all the admin, everybody involved in this league that puts a show on and allows us to come out here and race and put on a good show for everybody. And I just want to thank Full Throttle Motorsports, FTM, Chatham Motorsports, Mike Schick Motorsports Design, Velocity Race Design, Northeast Outlaw Motorsports, Swan Speed Shop, Super Dirt Car Series. Let's thank all the sponsors that support and help this team out. I just want to thank the fans for coming out and watching these races and supporting this league. And I hope we put on a good show for you tonight. And I just want to thank my fans as well for coming out and always taking the time to watch my races.
A heck of a run, Gavin. Congratulations, man. A win and a P2. Nothing wrong with that on the resume. Can't wait to get you back here for Hometown Heroes. But until then, maybe I can find out your employer and get you off that job so we can have you here Wednesday.
Ask for some time off, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, but great run, Gavin. Love having you, man, and good luck the rest of the season, brother.
All right, thanks, Shaggy. We'll see y'all tomorrow night for the modifieds.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll get an FTM podium here. I get spoiled.
I can tell you one thing: it probably won't be this FTM guy because those guys are helping me out a lot, and I'm trying to figure them out still. But those guys are way better in the modifieds than I am. But we'll go put a show out there, and hopefully go towards the front.
Well, you can be humble all you want to the fans out there, but I know better. You're not going to trick me. I'll see you up towards the front tomorrow, Gavin. Good luck.
Thanks, Shaggy. I appreciate it. You have a good rest of your night.
You as well. That's Gavin Chatham, your P2 finisher. And now Blake Chapman, he finally gets that top step here after getting edged. But boy, oh boy, it got close, Blake. But man, you went up there, you found that top shelf. You hung onto it. How'd the car feel?
Yeah, it didn't feel too bad. It was a little closer than I would have liked for sure. I felt like that line in 1 and 2 was going away a little bit towards the end. Trying to mix my entry up just a little bit in that corner. Nothing was really working too well. I think that's where Gavin was getting me. That top in 3 and 4 was fast all night though. I was expecting that middle to come in, and I tried it a couple times, but every time I would, Gavin would just be right on my tail tank, then coming out of 4, and I realized the top was a place to be. And I thought I gave away the race there at the very end. Coming into 3, I tried to change my entry a little bit, went up a little higher, and I hit a rut and got tight, and I just nailed the gas all the way around the corner, and I was spinning the tires, but it ended up working out for me, just barely.
Yeah, and I mean, you touched on it there, but we see you, sacrificing maybe a little corner speed there in 1 and 2 compared to Gavin with the way you talked about your entry. But was the top through 3 and 4 just that important tonight that's where you had to be?
Yeah, I think so. It's usually pretty fast. Like we saw it in the 360 race, how fast it was, and I assumed it was going to be there for most of the night. But like I said, I've seen that middle come in too, pretty fast. But it was just a little too quick up top all night in 3 and 4, which I don't mind running it up there. So it worked out all right for us.
Well, man, side by side as you cross the charity stripe. Heck of a race here, Blake. Congratulations on another win, extending that points lead that much further. But before we kick you out of here, man, you know the drill. You got a lot of pretty stickers on that car. Let's hear about them.
Of course, I got to thank family first for watching. I got to thank Terry and all the other guys down at the Crite Sim Racing team and the Can-Am Racing team. Got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and Andy at AJ Custom Creations. I got to thank Dean Reynolds for the admin tonight. Got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring Hometown Heroes. And of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff out there. You can head over to their website, use code CART, that's C-A-R-T at checkout for 15% off some of their very delicious product. And of course, I got to thank you, Shaggy, for putting this on each and every week.
Well, hey, I appreciate that, Blake. Another good race, man. You guys treated me to amazing battles here on Hometown Heroes. And, well, I got to pick on you. Yeah, now here real quick. No Terry Landis in here. Be honest with us. You weren't really tired, right? You were making the old men feel a little better.
I don't know, man. It gets kind of tiring running that top. I would have been gassed if we were running it all the way around the track, but yeah, maybe I was exaggerating just a little bit for the old guys.
Well, hey, that's nice of you to do, man. Makes them feel better. And congratulations, Blake. You gonna be running tomorrow night here, Thursday Night Thunder?
I don't think so, but don't count me out just quite yet.
All right. Well, I'll try to keep up with you on Monday night when you're back here. Good luck the rest of the way, Blake.
Thanks, Shaggy.
Blake Chapman, your 410 feature winner. And we had saw it a little bit there. You know what? I got nothing better to do here. Shows went quick. Let's go back. Let's take a look at that final lap here between those two. This is coming to the white flag. And you'll see Gavin Chatham. I mean, he gets a good run here, but clips that berm like he talked about. Maybe if he doesn't clip that berm, he could send it in there and make it stick. But Blake right now losing, winning as he takes momentum off that top shelf, edges Gavin at the line. And another great race, another amazing finish here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. I'd like to give a shout out to everyone involved here, all the sponsors, Flatline Racing Bodies and J Custom Creations, Extreme E-Speed TV, Atlantic Management Resources, if I missed you, Venom Racing and Full Throttle Motorsports, they picked up one. We appreciate all the support, and we couldn't put on these amazing broadcasts without you. And on behalf of all the admins, Roger Craig at Coast to Coast, I'm Zach Chapman saying so long, have a good evening, and we'll be back live tomorrow night for Thursday Night Thunder here on Shaggy TV on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. So tune in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Good night.